Demon Lord Leon is towering over the moderate jesters. As Tyr explains, they're unable to deliver him any more otherworld children, due to Rimuru's growing influence in the West. You see, Leon is searching for a specific young girl, and as such, has been summoning as many otherworlders as possible. Since the West can't help, he states they should look east. However, Laplace claims the East is preparing for war. Now, as a reminder, Demon Lord Leon killed Demon Lord Kozalem, so our jesters absolutely hate him. Leon is suspicious as to why they'd reveal that information about the war, and straight up asks what they're hiding. In accordance with their plan, Laplace reveals that 5 otherworld children are currently being held at Tempest. Footman states each of their names slightly incorrectly, causing the Demon Lord to ask if the name is supposed to be pronounced Chloe Albert, though they claim to be unsure, as otherworld names tend to be difficult for them. But you know what's not difficult? Having a blast by playing today's sponsor,
Raid Shadow Legends.
This free-to-play strategy game includes both PvP and PvE content, not to mention it's been downloaded more than 80 million times. With over 700 different champions to use, you're all but guaranteed to find a character you enjoy. On top of this, Raid is introducing a whole new rarity,
Mythical.
Each champion at this tier wields a powerful metamorph ability. A mythical champion is essentially 2 champions in one, as their metamorph causes them to transform. Just keep in mind that both forms use the same equipment, but even so, they're still by far the most versatile champions to be created so far. It's rather mind-blowing just to think about all the new possible synergies these champions bring to the game. If you would like a mythical champion of your own, I highly recommend you do, grab some of the new primal shards and go summon them at the portal. Now this is a
Raid Shadow Legends
sponsorship, so you know they have limited time free content for you. Log in 7 days between September 22nd and October 23rd to be rewarded with a legendary Monkey King, Sun Wukong. But wait, there's more! You can also get the epic champion Stag Knight for free, with a skin designed by JonTron himself. Simply use promo code JTSKIN anytime before October 7th. Plus, if you're new to the game, you can scan the QR code or click the link down below to earn the rewards you see on screen. Thank you, Raid Shadow Legends, for sponsoring this video. After they're gone, one of his servants offers to kill the jesters, but Leon would rather prepare their defenses for this potential war. It'd be terrible for El Dorado if the original Yellow decided to awaken. Plus, he's currently focused on his one true goal, which is to find his childhood friend, Chloe Albert. Elsewhere, Laplace wonders why they revealed the 5 children to Leon. Apparently they suspect he has a hidden motive for summoning otherworlders, though Coggley doesn't think he'll do anything drastic for them. That is until Laplace mentions Leon was oddly intrigued by the name Scoey. Next they discuss Maribel's death, and you find out Yuki has been negotiating with Granville Rosso. Over in Tempest's meeting hall, you find an annoyed Rimuru discussing the numerous foreign requests. He really wants to assign this work to someone else. However, everyone is already worked to the max. The secretary looks to him with excitement in her eyes, but Rimuru immediately declines. Thinking through his options, Rimuru sets his sights on Diablo. Of course, he probably won't be happy about this, but they'll deal with that when he returns. With that out of the way, Rimuru heads to Kurobe's workshop, who exclaims he recently finished. Our slime doesn't even remember what they discussed, as he's handed an ordinary-looking broadsword with 3 empty slots in the hilt. Then upon inserting a gem, the blade transformed into a magic sword. It turns out Kaijin invented these elemental cores, which essentially work like rechargeable batteries. Then different combinations of cores have different effects, some of which even cause the weapon to explode. As a means to gather research, they decide to put some of them into the dungeon for adventurers to test out. Next, Rimuru pulls out his personal jet black sword, as he pumps magic into it, causing the blade to shine with the colors of a rainbow. Kurobe's never saw anything like it, and his skills are not even able to assess it. According to Rimuru, it's known as Crimson Steel, which Kurobe has only ever heard about in fairy tales. After some testing, they determine the sword to be God tier, which makes it even stronger than Hinata's legendary Moonlight Blade. Back in his office, Milam bursts inside just as the Dragonade cracks, followed by a small dragon emerging, and after a brief heartfelt reunion, she declares it's time for an adventure. Our slime warns her Frey won't be happy, but she's not concerned since Gaia needs to hunt and eat in order to grow. Now inside the dungeon, our group wreaks havoc with the addition of Gaia's Chaos Breath and Gravity Magic. They decide to call it quits just outside of Bovix's lair, where they're greeted by a pissed off Frey. Milam stutters, Frey shouts she was supposed to return home after the egg hatched, and thus drags Milam away. At the moment, Rimuru holds absolute power over Tempest. However, he'd like to implement a 3-branch government much like Japan. The main thing holding them back is a severe lack of reliable personnel. However, that's a problem for later, so Rimuru takes a break to visit their numerous construction projects. Geld is making rapid progress in the Beast Kingdom due to the POWs finally cooperating. Elsewhere, the highways and train tracks are all looking good, though some countries don't want a train route built to Dworgen for fear the East might take it over. In Farminus, he's greeted by Yom, who's jealous that Rimuru can move around so freely. He's not completely alone though, followed by Edgar declaring it's important to always be guarding the king. Yom, however, doesn't care for this lifestyle and plans to eventually relinquish the throne to Edgar since he's the previous king's heir, though he's reprimanded for that thought, since Queen Murin is with child. Yom was too embarrassed to tell him, and Murin just thought it'd be awkward. Giving birth as a Magic-born will permanently weaken Murin, but she reassures our slime her magic will still remain. Apparently Grusith still hasn't recovered from the news, so Razin, aka Diablo's servant, has been stepping up to squash any signs of rebellion. Upon returning home, Veldora and Ramirez drag our slime away to a research facility. Now their personal labs are on floor 100, but they're headed to the collective research area on floor 95. Here they have alchemists from Dworgen, sorcerers from Thalion, and physicist vampires from Lubelius. Inside, he's greeted by a small model train, which is driving through numerous different magically generated environments. Kaijin is proud to announce that it's powered by a spirit-driven steam engine. Our Demon Lord is super impressed and states they can use this to generate electricity in the future. And then with nothing more than a hunch, Rimuru suspects this isn't the only model, as Kaijin throws open a door revealing a full-size Magitrain, as Vesta exclaims it was only possible with everyone's help. Then upon stepping inside, Rimuru is left speechless, as he discovers electric-powered lighting. A very proud Kaijin then asks if they can hold a party to celebrate the Magitrain, so Rimuru gladly takes everyone out for drinks. With the trains proceeding smoothly, Demon Lord Rimuru begins focusing on the bodies for Diablo. Ramirez then lends him a hand, as she explains that Veldora always seems to disappear when she needs him the most. Some days later in his office, Shuna states they have a visitor named Dino. Upon realizing him to be a Demon Lord, Shuna becomes defensive, but Rimuru isn't concerned. Entering the room, they exchange some general greetings, and Dino confirms he's just here to visit. Though only a moment later, it's revealed that Dagrul actually kicked him out. Thus, he's come to Tempest, homeless, jobless, and seeking a place to stay. Our slime instantly denies that request, and you learn Dino hasn't worked for hundreds of years. Now, Rimuru isn't heartless and allows him to at least finish his food, though after taking a single bite, Dino exclaims he wishes to serve Rimuru, in exchange for nothing more than food like this. Still not buying it, Rimuru asks what he really wants, and is presented a letter from Guy, basically ordering Rimuru to look after Dino. Not wanting to piss off a Demon Lord who's far stronger than himself, and remembering Dino is fond of the Fairy Queen, Rimuru agrees to let him stay here and work for Ramirez. Now on floor 100, Dino wonders how there's so many Magicules, and is shocked to learn the Veldora lives here, and even listens to Rimuru. Inside the personal labs, they find a very exhausted Vesta, who was forcefully drugged down here to help Ramirez. Of course, he's enjoying this work as well, even to the point of purposely foregoing sleep. The group then happily accepts their new colleague, instantly putting Dino to work. The current goal is to create 1,000 demon-ready bodies for Diablo. Crafting each one by hand would be a pain, so Rimuru instead sets up 1,000 magical pods to automatically do the work for him. They've discovered that different monsters require different amounts of Magicules, and at the moment, they have 1,000 bone golems being prepared for their hosts. Several days later, Rimuru visits the lab once again to find Ramirez attempting to convince Veldora to supercharge a pod with his Magicules. This idea will likely make it explode, but she promises to vouch for him if that happens. Giving in, he injects the pod with magic, as the bone golem begins growing just as expected. The skeleton, however, transforms into a new unknown material.
It is a biomagisteel. We can call it Dragontite.
She screams for him to stop, just as cracks begin forming on the pod. Rimuru then finally interrupts these two stupid geniuses, followed by Trainee bringing everyone a snack. Afterwards, Rimuru wants to know why Ramirez is trying to rush the bodies. Apparently, she just wants to pay back her loyal followers by supplying them with physical bodies. Our slime is happy to lend her some of what they've already made, and even offers to help the Dryads evolve as well. Our newest member questions if it's really okay to evolve them, but Rimuru thinks it's the least he can do to repay them for all their help with the dungeon. Veldora then speaks up, wanting his very own personal assistant. That's immediately rejected, but he pleads that he already has someone in mind, specifically a friend inside of Rimuru's stomach.
He's referring to Ifrit.
The major problem is that Ifrit was loyal to Demon Lord Leon, though Veldora claims Ifrit is willing to help them. Apparently, Ifrit already assisted them with summoning fire spirits for the trains, so Rimuru agrees, putting the full responsibility onto Veldora. Using Corbidus's remains to craft a special core, they insert it into the Dragontite skeleton,
Commencing soul transfer.
causing the golem to transform into an unbelievably beautiful woman. The spirit kneels to thank our Demon Lord and explains this body is due to Charbidus being female, and also Veldora's influence. You also find out that after all that time in Rimuru's stomach, Ifrit now regrets never having made peace with Shizu. You then learn that Ifrit is the type of spirit, not a name, so Veldora wishes to name him. The issue is that Veldora's absurd amount of magic could easily kill him, so Rimuru is asked to mediate the process.
That is not a problem.
Veldora exclaims his name to be Chars, as the spirit evolves into a Flame Lord, making him equally as powerful as your typical Demon Lord. With that, his body returns to normal, prompting Veldora to complain, but admit the gender swap was all just an elaborate prank. Now Dino is stunned by how powerful Ifrit has become, while Vesta states you just get used to it after a while. Shortly after this, all the bodies are completed, and the Dryads all choose to evolve. It's multiple days later that Diablo finally returns, along with 3 weak-looking girls.
Each of them are an archdemon who's extremely skilled at hiding their aura.
Our slime complements their ability, and Diablo declares there to be 7 useful others, though of course each of them have numerous followers of their own. The white-haired girl can see why Black is so fond of this Demon Lord, and immediately pledges her loyalty to Rimuru. The purple and blonde do the same, making this an addition of 700 demons to Rimuru's arsenal. Diablo then actually apologizes for not gathering a full 1,000, and launches into the grand tale of his adventures into the demon realm, though Rimuru cuts him off there. Moving into the dungeon, to prevent the magic barrier surrounding Tempest from breaking, the army of demons are called forth. The 10 big shots are all archdemons, with the exception of a single greater demon Diablo took a liking to.
The older a demon is, the more powerful it becomes.
Anyways, all 700 swear fealty to our slime, and Rimuru is just glad that Diablo is on their side. It takes them 3 full days to transfer all the demons into their physical bodies. Ramirez thinks those 3 girls look extremely old, prompting Rimuru to say roughly 1,000 years, but the group is confident they're significantly older. After awakening, the 3 ancients are named Testarossa, Ultima, and Carrera. Dino once again flips out, so this time Veldora and Ramirez declare it's just normal around here, man. The 3 girls shatter their pods as all 3 evolve into demon peers, each becoming as strong as Demon Lord Carrion. Using the remaining pods as magic batteries, Rimuru is able to name the remaining demons in only a few days, causing many more, including the greater demon, to evolve as well. Our slime then begins contemplating if a demon could be good at politics. The 3 ancients are very impressed the slime wasn't scared of them, unlike the panicking Demon Lord Dino. They're each among the strongest in the world, and originally none of them were actually planning to serve Rimuru. Everything, however, went perfectly according to Diablo's plan, as they all received a name, and thus his army has been born. White does admit that she nearly killed Diablo when he arrived, but was just too curious as to why Black would bow to a Demon Lord. If she deemed Rimuru disappointing, she was 100% going to kill him, but for now, they'll allow Diablo to command them. Later on, in the meeting hall, Rimuru brings up his need to fill 3 important government-related roles. Testarossa volunteers to be the diplomat, followed by Diablo confidently backing all of them, though Rimuru knows Diablo just doesn't want the job himself. Our Demon Lord questions Testarossa's knowledge of their laws, prompting her to effortlessly begin reciting them word for word. With that, Rimuru is confident to leave their nation's reputation in her hands, and she promises not to leave behind any evidence. Ultima showcases her knowledge as well, and Carrera explains that demons love their contracts, so bribes would never work on them. With these 3 girls now hired, Tempest's constitution is finalized and sent out to the Western nations. Testarossa reveals there's been a mixed response, as some seek favor while others are trying to use them. Questioning how she obtained that info, you come to find her servant, Moss, who is skilled at gathering intel by creating replications of himself. Moss openly admits his information is derived from rumors and speculation, but he is confident that multiple royals are plotting against them. Deciding it's best to leave this to Testarossa, she asks if they need to destroy any troublesome nations. Rimuru firmly orders her to avoid bloodshed, and more importantly, not to harm Tempest's reputation. A bit later, our slime takes a visit to Tempest's new school. Alice orders everyone to begin cleaning, prompting Kenya to snap back. The group collectively agrees Empress Alice will win this fight, followed by Gale stating Kenya is just in love with her. Deciding he's seen enough, Rimuru steps inside, getting stealthily tackled by Chloe. The other two girls dive in too, as Rimuru thanks today's teacher for watching over them. Fritz actually really enjoys it here. I mean, it's bliss compared to Hinata's harsh training. Just as an angry Hinata declares she was going easy on him, and wonders if maybe Fritz isn't as good as she thought. Our group moves into the dungeon where they're joined by Hakuro. Overlooking the fact Rimuru named more monsters, she explains they're here so Rimuru can see how much the kids have improved. To this end, he decides to spar with them one-on-one. Overall, our slime is more than impressed. Kenya, Ryota, and the defense-oriented Gale are all just as strong as a standard paladin. Alice, who is a straight-up golem master, will be as strong as a paladin captain in just a few years. Then there's Kumara, whose 9 tails split apart, each making up their own beast, causing her to be more powerful than even Fritz. However, standing leagues above all of them is Chloe. Her skills are refined just as sharp as Hinata's, and Rimuru even had to fight seriously in order to not take any damage. Now Kenya would be a lot stronger if he'd stopped fighting like a manga character, but he refuses since he learned that style from the great Masayuki. Hinata brings up that Luminous is asking about the music recital Rimuru promised her. Realizing he can't put it off any longer, he agrees to get the orchestra ready, so she volunteers to have the paladins handle the teleportation. But the kids overhear and now wish to tag along. Our demon lord isn't sure about that until the adorable Kumara, aka Floor 90 dungeon boss, sheepishly asks if she can come too. Kenya exclaims there'll be no schoolwork for a while, but Rimuru declares everyone is getting extra homework for this trip. Though Chloe doesn't mind, as she just likes to be with Rimuru. Sometime later, now in Lubelius, our group arrives accompanied by Shion and Diablo. Our slime thought it was best to leave Eldora behind, seeing as he and Luminous don't exactly like each other.
Bringing him would have had a 100% chance to cause a problem.
It's that first night, with a knock on the door, that Rimuru is invited to speak with Luminous. Upon entering, he's thanked for not bringing along that troublemaker, followed by Rimuru wondering why Hinata isn't here. You learn it apparently takes a very long time for human bodies to fully evolve, so even though she is in fact a true saint, she still currently requires sleep. Then handing over a cake as a gift, Rimuru questions what this meeting is about. They have reason to believe that Granville is currently scheming something, and want Rimuru to stay wary. He points out Hinata is more qualified for this than him, so she reminds him that Granville was part of the 7 Days clergy, and as such, he might know of a secret entrance. Her servants warn that Granville is tricky, followed by Diablo exclaiming they shouldn't be bothering Rimuru with such matters. Luminous can't help but to smile at Noir, just as Rimuru orders him to chill, as she declares the problem is that nobody knows the depths of Granville's full power. At the very least, he's stronger than Hinata, and the group debates what he could be after. It turns out Luminous has a pretty dang good idea, but she isn't willing to share it. Yuki is then brought up as he's been seen negotiating with Granville as well. They all assume that Rimuru is the target. Diablo and Shion believe they can handle it, followed by Luminous stating all she wants is a relaxing concert. The next day, Venom is ordered to keep an eye on the area, and Diablo is to guard the orchestra. However, he already called in 100 reinforcements the night before. For now though, they have some downtime, so Hinata takes the kids on a tour of the city. They learn the citizens here are each assigned a specific role to fulfill for their god, and thus have little to no freedom. In return, they're kept perfectly safe, and experience a certain level of constant happiness. Alice and Kenya think that's awfully boring, but it's pointed out the citizens don't know anything different, so they're able to enjoy this life. Chloe realizes all these people are powerless to defend themselves. Hinata declares protecting them is her job, but Chloe believes it'd be better if everyone could help each other. Over in the country of El Dorado, Arlo states that Jean has disappeared, and the entrance to the demon realm has sealed itself. Leon can't believe Jean just vanished, and Claude exclaims this can't be possible. A report then arrives confirming the existence of 5 children within Tempest, and they suspect the slime is going to sell them to Luminous. This demon lord doesn't think that sounds like Rimuru at all, and thus assumes someone is trying to pit them against each other. There's only 2 groups he thinks could possibly be behind this: the Cerberus Society and or maybe Granville Rosso. In either case, it's best for Leon not to act. However, his emotions are screaming for him to investigate the Scoey Colbert. Noticing their master's unease, they vow to follow any orders, no matter how selfish. Leon then finally makes up his mind, declaring he must go himself, and orders them to guard El Dorado in his stead. Due to a report that Leon has begun to move, Yuki truly believes he's searching for Chloe. Coggley warns Leon is too smart to believe their lies, and that it's risky to make assumptions. The Jesters proclaim Yuki to be acting out of character, but Misha reveals their objective is to cut all ties with Demon Lord Leon, by pinning the blame for the lack of otherworld children on the Rozos. Followed by Yuki revealing the Rozos still have one more hidden weapon up in the north. It's a lone warrior who's been protecting humanity from Guy's demons. This unknown person was named Razul by Granville Rosso himself, meaning this warrior isn't human. Yuki then states that he recently had a meeting with Granville, which resulted in their next scheme. The meeting began with Yuki explaining he framed Maribel for everything, and Granville exclaiming all hope is lost. The Rozos have no choice but to resort to their secret treasure, however Yuki wants no part of it. It's announced that Yuki is the last person he can trust to bring peace to humanity. However, it's pointed out Rimuru will likely do that himself, though this hero's 6th sense is screaming that Rimuru will only sow chaos. It's revealed that Luminous is hiding an ark that contains the great hero that once sealed Veldora. Now a little more intrigued, he listens, as Granville declares his plan to attack the cathedral in order to create a diversion for Yuki to find the hero. He wonders why Granville would betray his former master, but this old man simply spits.
She sided with the enemy.
You see, the mighty warrior Razul will even take part in the siege, but even so, Laplace can't help but to feel nervous sneaking into the cathedral. Due to this, he wants the other jesters to join him, but apparently Yuki has other plans for Tyr. They're reminded this could be a trap, just as Yuki states he'll be joining them on this mission. Basically, Granville will create a diversion for the jesters, as the jesters create another diversion for Yuki. Now Tyr's job will be to greet Demon Lord Leon, and Coggley reminds them to be sure to frame the Rozos for all of this. Elsewhere, an old man is seething with hatred. In this one fell swoop, he will defeat Demon Lord Rimuru, Demon Lord Leon, and even Demon Lord Luminous. He's worked so long to unite humanity against the Demon Lords, however Maribel's death ruined everything. He believes at this point, humanity is essentially waiting to be annihilated, and thinks back to the day his wife was murdered. Their children were the only thing that kept him going, but this old man has finally reached his limit. It's time to let this world crumble and burn. Allow me to give a massive shout out to Jose Silva, my newest patron.